today to FaceTime with CORA Physical Therapy. We're just checking and making sure everything is working okay. Does everything look okay? I have Julie Best as my big helper today to make sure that everything is working correctly. I hope everyone can hear me all right and can see me during this session. Let me just finish getting everything ready as people join us. And again, I want to thank Julie Best for taking the time to help me out today. Keep me coordinated and on spot.
No problem.
Everything's looking good.
It looks great.
Okay. Well, to stay in the camera, since I have it set up pretty low, you know, this is a time of year that as a triathlete or a master swimmer, we're trying to get ready for our competitive season. And the coronavirus has kept us out of the pool, probably for the longest time we've been out of the pool for years, I imagine. And all the hard training you put in over the winter to get ready for your spring season, well, it's all been put on hold for right now. So you're trying to ask yourself, how do I stay in shape? You might even ask yourself, how long is it going to take me to get back into shape? And, you know, if you're a sprinter, if you're a distance swimmer, it's all the same. We have to keep ourselves strong so that we can be able to tolerate the strenuous nature of our training seasons. So today I wanted to share with you a little bit of information that might help us as we look forward to hopefully the pools opening back up soon, and then of course our open water swims that will begin as soon as the rivers and the lakes begin to warm up. There is one thing, and I don't know, an article was shared with me about an Olympic swimmer who also was out of the pool and contacted the coronavirus, and not only did they lose their strength, but they also lost a lot of their lung capacity. And so for those of you, and I hope nobody has, but if you've tested positive and had a bout with the coronavirus, this too I hope will help you to start seeing yourself as getting back and getting ready to get into the pool. Now, today I'm going to be using a number of little devices. And the good news about these devices is that they're readily available at therapyessentials.coraphysicaltherapy.com. Some of the things I'll be using to help make this adaptable to the home environment. This is called a door anchor, and it enables us to attach elastic bands or elastic tubing over the door. Now, I particularly like tubing because it lasts longer, is more durable, and today I'll be using a black tubing. There are many different colors. I don't generally advise anyone to use silver tubing unless they're extremely strong. But for the most part, red, green, blue, or black, any of those colors that will work well for you would be what I would want you to consider. Now, at the other end, these are just add-on straps. These are also made by TheraBand. Sometimes swimmers will actually take a paddle, cut a hole in the middle, feed the tubing through, and then tie it to a washer so that you actually have your paddle as you begin to participate in some of these exercises. But these also can be found as well online. Now, also at therapyessentials.coraphysicaltherapy.com, you can find the TheraBand, and you'll see how I use that very shortly. So why don't we get started? We've got some stretches. All of us know most of these stretches because we're used to doing them when we're in the pool. We don't have much time between sets, so stretches are generally held for 15 seconds. Rarely do we have 30 seconds of rest period. But the first one is called the cross-body stretch. And on that one, we're going to cradle the arm that we're stretching underneath the other arm, and we're going to bring the elbow toward our opposite shoulder. You want to maintain that, as I said, for 15 to 30 seconds. But you never want to stretch to a point of severe, searing, tearing, burning kind of pain. Your stretch should always be a good stress or strain on the target tissue. And when you finish stretching, then that helps us to relax. So we can do that again. If you want to stretch with me, we're going to go stretch across body like that. We're going to hold that. And because of the length of the video today, we won't quite hold a full 15 to 30 seconds. But we're just going to hold You know, our shoulders are probably the most susceptible points of injury as swimmers. And so we need to keep our shoulders healthy. So this stretch and the next two are very important to doing that. Why don't we switch over to the other shoulder now? We're just going to bring it across, looking straight ahead. Just slowly bring that elbow toward the opposite shoulder and maintain that. And again, 15 to 30 seconds roughly. And we'll stop and take a break. And then we'll try that again. All right? Good rule of thumb when you stretch is just simply wait until you feel back to your relaxed state and then stretch again. So we'll finish up this stretch, and then I have two more stretches for you to do. And relax. Now the second stretch you're also familiar with. We'll use a doorway on this one. In the pool, you're likely used to grabbing the gutter and a lane line for this stretch. So on dry land, we'll take and grab each door frame. We'll stagger 1 foot in front of the other. I never want us to fall or lean forward. You need to just shift your weight from the back foot forward to the front foot. Your goal is to stretch the front part of the chest wall. So again, how long do we hold? Let's go with 15 seconds. Now this can also be done with a partner who could help by holding your hands back in position. But again, once you get back in the pool, place one hand on the lane line, one hand in the gutter, and then you just stretch, just like that. Why don't we do that stretch one more time? Just a moment. So I just place my hands inside the door, step 1 foot forward, bend that knee forward, and just stretch until I feel that stress or strain across the front of the shoulders. Now relax. Now, of course, our coach is always yelling at us about streamlining when we dive into the pool or when we flip our turns and come off our turns. Streamlining is so important because much of our speed comes off the walls as we kick underwater. For the triathlete, it's simply when you dive into the water. But streamlining helps to reduce forward resistance. This stretch, if you can reach the top of the door frame, we'll use the top of the door frame. If not, a small stool or a box. So place one hand on top of the other, 1 foot in front of the other, head and arms in streamlined position, bend your knee, and stretch through the door. And back. So many times, that's where we're tight. And if you watch your fellow swimmers underwater, when they flip their turns and come off, you'll see them with their arms actually bent instead of in a nice tight streamline. You'll pick up valuable seconds if you can maintain a nice tight streamline with your body versus tightness and coming off the wall like this. So once again, let's do our over the door stretch. Step forward and into the door. And relax. Remember, the tight streamline. We're going to utilize that as we now move in to some of the strengthening exercises. So to begin with, we know that form is so important, efficiency in the pool. We can work on that form while we do our exercises. I'm going to hook our door anchor into the door. Now I'm using a simple bench. I bought this bench at a local sports store. It really wasn't all that much, but the bench is just wide enough to support us, but still allow for good free arm movement. So if I take my straps, I'll go ahead and place my hand in the straps just like I would in my paddles, and we'll back up, and we'll lie down across the bench. Now again, imagine that you're looking at the bottom of the pool or the lane line under the water. You want to maintain that good body position. We start out in our streamlined position, and something that's so important today is what we refer to as an early vertical forearm. So our goal is to bring our hand to a vertical position, and then at that point to follow through. Now our recovery doesn't have to be focused on at this point. We're focusing on early vertical forearm and follow through. And we can alternate on each side, and depending on how far you are, you can begin to rotate. But remember, still think about your head position as you continue. Now, one important thing is that as you come to early vertical forearm, you don't want to let your hand past your elbow. This is one of the two main points in a swimming stroke that causes a pinching in your shoulder. So your goal is to come right by your shoulder, and in some cases we call this a 3/4 catch-up drill. Here, follow through. Now how many repetitions? It generally, if you do a stroke count, you know that it takes you between 16 and 20 strokes per 25 yards. And so you might just simply go through that number of strokes as it relates to what you're doing in the pool. Your stroke count is important as you look at streamlining and efficiency and reducing forward drag. So again, early vertical forearm, push through and recover. Push through and recover. And finish. Now we don't have to, as I said, we don't have to focus on the recovery when using the elastic bands. We want to focus on our underwater movements. So let's go to our next activity. We'll slide our door anchor over the door. And now, for our butterflyers, you'll want to choke up on the tubing. And you'll kneel down, again with the arms up in a streamlined position. Watch your core, try to keep your body straight. Out to our early vertical forearm. Now you can finish all the way through and return. Down, finish, and return. Down, finish, and return. So we'll keep repeating this. Again, anywhere between 16 and 20 strokes for freestyle, but for butterfly, if you have a good underwater kick, you're probably not more than 6 to 10 recovery strokes for 25 yards. So you can just work on up to 10 repetitions and then build from there. Again, working on form, finish through, and recover. Now, not to leave the breaststrokers out. On this next one, spread your feet apart. You're going to flex at the hips, keep the back in, keep your core engaged. Holding the hands in position. I'm going to have to back up here a little bit. Holding your hands in position, head in position, hands out, in, and recover. Hands out, in, and recover. Sort of a new part of the breaststroke. And again, we want to get that push out, back, and recover. Out, back, and recover. Once again, think about the number of strokes you take per 25 yards. And adjust your resistance according to your ability to maintain good form.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Now from this position, we can also work on the end of our stroke. You can work both, as you would if you were recovering from butterfly, or just freestyle, just one at a time. I like to do both. So I'm just getting that follow through, and that's where we lead to our recovery. Some recoveries are high elbow, some recoveries are high arm, and then into the water. So you can do whatever you want in terms of your particular style of swimming, but work on finishing, following through by the hips. All right, one more for the shoulder. And this one is very important. Wrap your band around your arm, your hand. I recommend using a small towel roll or a small pillow. Place that up underneath your armpit. Standing tall, I want you to rotate out. Feel that shoulder come back. And try to keep your elbow at a 90-degree angle. Just like that. We can again do repetitions of 8 to 10 here. This one really targets that rotator cuff. And of course, you would want to do that for each arm. Well, we're down to the last part now. We'll start off, since the core is so important to our swimming skills, our flip turns, we'll start with something called the bicycle. On this one, you draw in the core, shrinking your waist as if you were trying to fit yourself into a pair of pants that were too small to fit into. And you're trying to button the button, but you can't do it. So you draw in, tip the pubic bone back, bring one knee to the chest, then the other. Then we're going to do our bicycles, but in this case, I want your arms up in streamlined position. So once again, you're mimicking the position in the water. Now when you get really good, you can do both at the same time. Again, keep your streamlined position.
My doctor, when I talked to him about the Gadsden, he said, don't take it because it's one of those substances that is a control. He is really addictive, so don't take it. Yeah.
And relax. Down to our legs. We'll simply tie a small TheraBand around our ankles. I didn't leave out the backstrokers. You still have something you can do. So for backstroke, this will be our kick activity. Take your streamlined position, pull in your core. Now, in general, it takes 25 to 35 seconds to kick 25 yards if you're using a kickboard. And so I would recommend trying to work up to at least 25 to 30 seconds of sustained kicking, maintaining your core the whole time, and you're kicking. Now for freestyle, you can flip over. Same thing, streamlined position. style for this one because it really activates the abdominal muscles just that much more, which facilitates the strengthening that we need when we flip our turns. And speaking of that, that's our last activity today. What I want to do, stability ball. Again, you can find this on the therapyessentials.coraphysicaltherapy.com site. This ball will place to our back. So when we flip our turns, our feet come straight overhead. And when we hit the ball, our toes are actually facing up. So if I'm in a streamlined position, I'm going to hit the wall, and I'm going to be like this before I push off the wall. So what I want to do is to do my squats. Again, imagine you're pushing off the wall. You can even do a little bit more explosive squat. To build more strength and that power that you need coming off the wall. I encourage you to start now. We need to do this during the season just as much as we need to prepare to get started all over again. Don't worry, you haven't become too deconditioned. You just feel like it being out of the water for so long. I wish you the best in your competitive summer season as the pools open up. Stay healthy, stay strong, and thank you for joining us for FaceTime on CORA Physical Therapy. Bye-bye.